Hey everybody, it's Doug Schauf with the Make Maine Your Home team over at Remax Oceanside. So you're under contract on your house. Congratulations, now it's time to inspect it. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about home inspections. So let's do this. If you're watching this video and you're under contract and you don't know what the heck's going on, first off, congratulations for going on a contract. It's really an exciting time, but also a scary time because this is the time period that once you go under contract, most contracts here in the state of Maine and probably everywhere have a due diligence period where you're able to look through the house, make sure there's no major issues. Saying that, I'll kind of touch on major issues because what we tell a lot of our clients is we're not really looking for the little stuff. Your inspection report at the end is going to have a whole slew of what I call like honey-do list stuff, little things that need to get done. Unless if that list is like so long and all those little things add up to an enormous amount of money, we're not really going to negotiate the super small stuff. What we're looking for is to make sure that all the major ticket items are in working order or at least in good shape. Depending on how the contract works, at least you kind of know what to budget for in the future. Typically what we're looking at, the big items are like the roof, the boiler or the heating system, the HVAC system, if there's a septic system, a well, all those things. We're looking at those major ticket items. Here in the state of Maine, the due diligence period starts as soon as you go under contract, and whatever time period there is there. Fairly normal time frame is 10 business days or 2 full weeks, but depending on if the market's really hot, that time frame gets shortened, or it could even be longer if you need more time to review those things. What we do for our clients is we have a couple inspection companies that we work for, and we go ahead and schedule all that in. One inspector that we're really fond of is Pillar to Post. We go ahead and schedule that in. And then once you're scheduled in, the inspection company is going to reach out to you as a client. There's like a whole menu there that you can choose from. We always recommend at least doing just a general building inspection. The general building inspector will review the whole house, and if they see anything that is like a red flag, they're going to flag that, and then we can investigate further if those things come up. A very common thing just popping in my head because we, for some reason, have a lot of these going on right now is like a chimney. Like if the building inspector looks up the chimney and he sees maybe there might be some issues, he's not necessarily a chimney professional, but he's going to flag that and say, hey, this looks like something that we should look at. And then we call a chimney professional and they can come over and take a look at it and investigate even further. The other thing that we always look out for is if you're testing for radon air in the house, if there's a well and a septic, especially the well, you might want to do water tests to make sure the water is safe to drink and all that stuff. So you're going to want to make sure the inspector knows all that so they can be prepared for when they come to the house to inspect. Oftentimes we can maybe get the inspector there ahead of time to set the testing for like radon air, for example, and maybe get water test results. So that way we can get the results within the time period. Here in the state of Maine, the due diligence time period, we can back you out of the contract for really any reason. Like you can even just wake up and say, I don't want this house. And if you're inside that due diligence period, we can back you out. You can use that to your advantage if we have to negotiate anything. We can go to the seller and say, hey, we need these few things done. If not, we're going to potentially back out. So it kind of helps out with that negotiation to get things done. It's a good way to kind of sit back, relax, make sure that it's the house for you and that everything's in good shape. During the inspection, when you get there, the inspector is going to walk around the whole house and take a close look at just about everything. They're going to flag anything from like a broken outlet cover to if the roof is bad. Some inspectors will get up on the roof. Some of them will just do a visual inspection. Some of them have drones nowadays to fly onto the roof and kind of check out the roof and the chimney. They're going to run the appliances. They're going to make sure that the HVAC system's up and running. They're going to run the water. They're going to make sure the hot water has a good temperature. They're really going to check everything. Sometimes when you're there with the inspector, by the end of it, you're going to be like, oh my God, this house is a piece of crap, because all they're doing is pointing out the negatives. You got to remember that a lot of times the lion's share of those items are like really small and just easy things to take care of. Probably the biggest things to look at again is like the boiler, the roof, the HVAC system. The foundation is a big one. So they're always looking at structure just to make sure that the foundation is in good shape. There's no major cracks. The way everything is framed up in the house, like the joists that you can see from the basement, all that looks in good shape. Nothing's rotten, etc., etc. The inspectors that we work with, and most inspectors that I know in the state of Maine here, will supply you with a report afterwards afterwards. That'll give you all the details. A lot of them kind of have a summary page, a couple pages, depending on how much stuff there is, and right in the beginning, so it's really easy to look at. Some companies out there do a great job with technology. If you don't live in the area and you can't make it here for the inspection, some of the companies that we work with will do a 3D tour of the house. They use that 3D technology. They snap all those photos and they put it together. So if you're from away, you can actually be going through that tour like you're in the house and really check everything out. And there's links in there to check out the report and all that stuff. It's really an incredible tool. Pillar to Post that we use does it, and I know there's a few other ones that use that as well, but that's really great. So once we get the report, we're all going to look at it in detail. In particular, if you're the one buying the house, we recommend that you really go through that in detail. If there's anything in there that you're uncomfortable with, then we have a meeting and we talk it through as far as what we think we can ask the seller for, and then we start those negotiations. And it could be everything from the seller won't do anything and you got to back out, to the seller will do everything, and then we're all good and we move on. But once we're done with that inspection period, it's harder to back you out, so to speak. So you want to really make sure that you really take your time to look at the details and make sure you're getting everything that you're comfortable with. One last note that we have here as far as the negotiation with the seller: once we actually provide this information to the seller, if you do walk away, the seller then has to disclose all these findings to the general public thereon. So really, there's a couple things that kind of helps your negotiation. A, you can walk away. B, they have to disclose everything if we show them all the findings that we saw at the inspection. So hopefully this was helpful. I know it's a lot of information about inspections, but if you have any questions, comment below, send us an email, hit us up on social media, all that kind of stuff. And remember, if you make Maine your home, you don't have to do it alone.